Hello, I'm Dennis O'Donnell, Vice President of Precision PCB Services, Inc. And today we're going to be doing a demo on how to reball a BGA using a universal reball fixture. The nice thing about the universal reball fixture is if you get a chip in and you don't have all the stencils and everything already made and you have a short time frame, you can pretty much set these up to do just about any chip within a few minutes. They come with a lot of standard frames, but there's so many chips out there, you don't always get the same frame. And so what I like is they come with stencils that are in different pitch grid patterns. So you can just get about any pitch, and then all we do is we just use a little Kapton tape and tape them off. So this is a square chip I have now, and I just taped off the outer holes to bring it down to the chip size so that the balls won't go through the extra holes. I just sort of customize it for this chip that we're going to be doing right here. So there's this type of fixture on, and they'll stay loose on the chip, and you put it in the reflow oven and they reflow. There is a chance that the balls can roll, and you might have to do a little bit of touch up afterwards. But I guess if you're in a hurry, it takes 2 to 3 days to get a stencil made. Sometimes custom fixtures take a week to 2 weeks. So if you're in a rush and you need to get it done right away, these are a good fixture to have. We also have custom-made fixtures, and these fixtures will give you a higher yield, but they cost more and they take about 1 to 2 weeks to make because we make them custom off the dimensions of the chips when people send us the specs. With this fixture, we can make them to do 1 to 9 chips depending on the size. It holds the ball in place once the balls are in, and the whole fixture goes in the reflow oven. So you get about 100% yield using these fixtures. But again, you're looking at about $600 to $800 for one of these fixtures, and you're looking at about $50 to $100 for one of these fixtures, depending on how many stencils you get with it. The difference is if you're doing any high volume reballing, then with these fixtures you can do 100 maybe to 500 components a day reballing. So if you're doing a high volume, these type of fixtures pay for themselves pretty quick. But a lot of stuff that comes in here, we're just doing prototypes, custom stuff for customers, and we're just getting one BGA at a time. And so we have a lot of the universals fixtures in stock with a lot of stencils so that we can do them pretty quick. So with this fixture, the chip just goes in. You have a adjustable type jaw, so you can do anything down from about a 1/4 inch to a 2-inch chip on this. So you have one adjustment here to put the chip in and hold it down. Then you have 4 screws on here that tighten your stencil in place. So what you would do is you set this on the fixture with the chip in, loosen up the 4 screws, and the stencil moves around, and you can center the balls inside the openings of the stencil, or center the pads inside of the opening of the stencil, then tighten everything up. So we've already done that. And then you don't want the stencil to touch the chip, or you can get flux on the stencil and the solder balls will stick to the stencil. So you're trying to keep all the flux from touching the stencil. And what you have is you have 4 screws here on the fixture, and you can adjust the height of these screws. And I adjust the height so there's just a little bit of space between the stencil and the chip, and that way our balls can set in easily and won't get flux on the chip. So I've already pre-adjusted everything so we don't spend time on the video boring you while we're adjusting it all. But simply what we're going to need here is we need our fixture, our stencil, our Kapton tape, and then I have a pair of good tweezers for moving the balls around, a nice sharp X-Acto blade, a little dental pick or probe. Then I have a brush for brushing the solder balls off, and you want to keep the brush very clean. You don't want to have any flux or any stuff on that because the solder balls will stick to it. Then I have a flux brush, and I have some tacky flux. So besides, we provide the reball services here, so we do anywhere from 1 to 1,000, 1 million chips, whatever you have. And we also sell all the supplies that you need to do it yourself. So if you need stencils, reball fixtures, solder balls, flux, we supply that all. You can call us an order. or we have an online store. I don't have it on this line yet. We have a store on Shopify, and I'll get that link up later. But for right now, to get started, my chip is in the fixture. And all I want to do is take some of this tacky flux and brush a little bit onto the chip. And it's very important that you cover all the pads, because if you don't get any flux on one of the pads, then the ball won't reflow well. You have to touch it up a little bit. And I usually use a microscope, and that way I can see that the flux is getting in there good. And like I say, you take your time to do the small things, and that way you won't have to end up doing any rework afterwards if something doesn't go just right. So I brushed it on there. What I'm going to just take my finger, and I'm going to smooth it out. I'm going to make sure that I have a nice even coat of flux over all the pads. And so this one's a little tricky, because you want to have just the right amount of flux. And as you use it and do the reball and get more practice, you'll know what the perfect amount is. What happens is if you put too much flux on, if you put on too thick, the balls can roll around and melt into each other, and then you get a bridge and have to touch that up. If you put too little flux on, then the balls may not reflow to the pads as well. And then what we'll do is we'll just add some flux afterwards and reflow the balls that didn't melt with the pad that well with the hot air pencil. As opposed to the custom fixtures, you can just pile the flux on. These hold the balls in place. You don't have to worry about the balls rolling around. And the more flux, the better in my book. And then you just run this with reflow. So the custom fixtures are nice because it takes a little bit of the guesswork out of it. But we use both of them. Like I say, we have high volume jobs and we have low volume jobs, and they both have their place. So my chip is in the fixture. The flux is on the chip. Simply just going to put this over the top, the stencil. I get my stencils on. Just going to make sure everything's centered very nicely. I get some solder balls here. Quite simply, I just pour the solder balls out into the fixture here. We're just going to hold these together and shake it around a little bit and roll them around. And then we'll make sure that they're all in there. And there's a little area here on the end. We can just pour the excess solder balls out. Tap a little bit to shake them off. Then what I'll do is I'll go through here and just double check. And sometimes we have a few solder balls that want to just hang in there. I'm just going to brush those off with our clean brush. So we have our excess solder balls moved away. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through here, and there's like 1 or 2 holes where the solder balls didn't set in, and rather than try and roll it around and brush it and keep messing with it, I'm just going to take my tweezers and my X-Acto blade and place the balls in the hole. There we go. I'm going to remove the stencil gently, set it on the side. I'm going to get a little circuit board here. Let me grab one. We're going to loosen this up, and we're going to take this out, put it on the circuit board. I'm just going to go refocus here. I've got a few balls that are a little filled through the stencil. I'm going to take off here, and then I still got a few balls that stuck to the stencil. And we're going to go through and put these on. It's going to take a minute here. Zoom in, focus. And I'm just going to make sure all my balls look good. Always check, double check. Make sure nothing's rolled too close together. Make sure that no balls fell through. And we could have an extra ball here on the next to the pad. Take that out, move it where I need a ball. And you just take your time. And make sure that everything is in place. While you're doing this under the microscope, sort of get a feel for it, because you want to have your orientation. You want to be careful that when you're doing this, your fingers don't accidentally hit the chip and push all the other solder balls around. Like I said, the chips are all sitting here loosely. And so they don't have to be 100% on the pad, as long as they're touching the pad, and the heat will pull them into place. And so what I'm going to do, got a few here. There we go. One more here. So what we'll do is we're just going to lift this up, get a good look at it. And so even when you're looking at the microscope, sometimes you don't see if there's a ball stuck in between the other ball that can bridge. And so I'll do one more visual under the microscope. And I'll just do a visual with my regular eyes under the light. And sometimes you'll see a reflection, and you'll see something you might have missed under the microscope. And so right now, nothing's moved. So you can see here. Try and get it closer there. Aha, there it is. Got all our balls on there. So what we're going to do, we have a tabletop reflow oven here. So we get and so these are pretty nice to have. They're 110 volt. I'll just slide out the drawer. We'll put this in here. And they have preset profiles. So you can, they come with 6 preset profiles. And then they have 2 profiles that you can set up yourself for custom. Right now I'm just using my lead-free profile. It's already set up in here. And I'm just going to press the start button. And it'll start running the profile. Let's see. Do I have it set? Let's see. F1. There we go. So we're using Wave 2, which is 250C peak profile. And it'll run about 7 minutes. Has a little graph here, shows you what it's running. And this will refill the chip. And then once it's ready, the alarm bell will go off. And it'll be ready to take out. So we're going to let you watch this here for about 7 minutes. Go grab a cup of coffee, and when it's done, we'll take the chip out and show you what it looks like. So while that's running, I'm just cleaning up my bench a little bit, getting all the items cleared up. Build a few solder balls, going to get those out of the way. We do both lead and lead-free rework here. So we have a rule. The solder ball touches the bench, it goes in the recycle. We don't take solder balls off the bench because you can throw some lead solder balls on the bench when you're doing a lead and say, oh, I filled one on, I'm going to just take this one off the bench, and for some reason you just missed a little lead-free ball on the last job and it got mixed in with your lead. So we always make sure that we only take solder balls out of the jar for the process that we are using. So what we're doing here is, again, we have in stock the universal reball fixtures, and then we custom make the custom reball fixtures that'll go through a reflow. And now these fixtures, you need a reflow oven. These heaters don't provide enough heat to heat up all this mass. But if you're interested in a custom reball fixture, all we need is your engineering drawing, basically just your data sheet, and then we'll custom make fixtures for you. So you can do high volume, high yield reballing. We sell solder balls here. We have Q-Win and we have Profound Materials Technology. We've been using these solder balls for about 10 years and have had no problems with them whatsoever. And then our favorite flux is Amtech flux. There are no clean tacky fluxes. This one here is a medium active. I like to use the medium active for lead free because it gives you a better yield. It helps clean the oxidation that's caused by the lead free solders. The medium active does have to be cleaned. All of our tacky Amtech fluxes are designed, or the ones that we use are designed with BGA in mind. They dissolve very easily in warm water and flush out from under the chip when you're doing BGA rework. So when we're doing BGA rework and BGA reballing, we always use Amtech. I'll use a no clean normally for lead solder and a medium active for lead free solder. Our no clean Amtech also is water washable, so it can be washed out with water. So you can wash it with some batch cleaner. We use an ultrasonic cleaner here. If you're a larger assembly company, you can use an inline cleaner. If you're at a bench and you don't have an ultrasonic cleaner or a inline cleaner, you could just use a little water bottle and put a little water around the chip or put it in the tray and let it soak a minute and just flush the excuse me, flush the flux out. And then want to make sure you blow it out with some air and dry it good in the oven. So we dry it in our Blue M ovens. All of our chips are baked for at least 12 hours or more. So our process is when your chips come into our facility and your boards, we bake the boards and the chips before we work. So we're going to let this run here about halfway through. So our company, Precision PCB Services, has been in business for 25 years now. We are a service provider to major contract manufacturers and product development companies. And we started out as a service provider in 1991. And since then, we've gone into providing products, services. We provide employee training in accordance with IPC standards. And we've come up with a pretty good product line. And we're geared, we're for assembly, but we're geared towards BGA rework as our specialty. And so we have tabletop reflow ovens. We have up to 5-zone reflow ovens. We have forced air convection ovens. And most importantly, we have BGA rework stations. So we have right now we're distributing Zumao and Shuttlestar. In 2017, we're going to come out with our own name brands. And by 2017, I think we should be stocking around 7 different models of BGA rework stations, ranging anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 in price. And we pretty much have we'll have a rework station for almost any need. We do like split vision rework stations, so we don't sell anything but split vision. So you can line up your component. There are other stations on the market you can buy for a couple $1,000s that don't have the split vision, and we just don't get into those because they're lower end, and we don't recommend not having split vision. But if you're on a really low budget and you want to get started, we could recommend machines for you. But I can say we only sell the split vision. I don't get into non-split vision machines. Basically, if we don't use it or wouldn't use it, we don't sell it. We pretty much stand behind everything we sell, and everything that we sell we would use in-house here on our own customer's product. And we're very strong on customer service and customer support, and I believe that's why we have been in business for 25 years, is we give superior customer support, and our customers always come back to us. If you want to give me a call, my phone number toll-free is 888-406-2830. That's 888-406-2830. And my email is dennis@pcb, like printed circuit board, -repair.com. We also have a roll solder, Amtech roll solder, lead and lead free. We have a small as 0.010 diameter. So if you need solder balls, flux, BGA rework stations, tabletop reflow ovens, or large reflow ovens, we have all that. So we'd be happy to hear from you. Post your comments. If you'd like to see anything in the way of a rework demo video, please feel free to post a comment or let me know what you'd like to see, what questions that you may have. You can hear our machine just getting ready, starting to cool down now. We're coming in the cool down cycle. Okay, so I'm going to get it over here and let you see if we can get a look at the little screen there. Again, we're just doing live broadcast from our laptop, so these aren't real fancy videos. These are live as it's happening. We're not trying to be fancy. We're trying to get the information out there, and we're not using any smoke and mirrors. We're showing you what the real process is, what it's really like, what you may encounter. I don't know if you can hear the trains in the background. We're in an industrial area right next to the train tracks, so you can hear those trains as they come by. They actually shake the building. Reminds me of when I grew up. I lived in the Midwest in Hammond, Indiana, in the steel belt. And back then in the 70s and 80s, there were trains everywhere. Okay, so we're just coming down. I can hear it cooling down. Open the door. The alarm's going to come off and let me know it's off. There we go. Just turn that off now. And so, not too bad. This one looks like we did have a couple solder balls roll. I have one here rolled and one here. And we can see those. Let's see, we get that. You can see we got a little roll there. They bridge together. And that's no problem. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little solder wick. I'm going to pull it off. And what we'll do is I have a little hot air pencil here. I'll just put a couple balls on and reflow those solder balls. It'll take me about 2 minutes. And our chip will be ready to go after we clean it. Later on today, I will be installing this chip with our BGA rework station, so I will try to get a video of that going then. Until then, I want to thank you for watching. Please, again, post your comments, and be a pleasure to hear from you if you have any questions or if we could be of any service with you and your rework processes. Have a great day.